In this lesson, we're looking at our fourth figure 4 arm lock, and this one is, again, working the arm toward the back, and it's done from the bottom, from the guard position. We start, and later on, again, we'll address lots of ways to make the hand go here, but right now, again, we're assuming for some reason or another, possibly because we've swept their opponent or off-balanced him there, his hand's gone on the floor. We've found it away from his body. So our first rule is, keep it away, lock it there. We're going to set up, and by sitting up and rolling over here, once again, I'm running some interference in between his hand and his body. So it's harder for him to get that hand back now, because my body's over here. The other hand's over the top, goes through, locks onto our wrist. So now we've got the wrist locked up. There's our figure 4. The key here now is to rotate from my right hip to my left hip. Another way to think of it is that my butt is going to come out and attack this wrist and take it even further away from his body. Putting my leg across his back and now rotating. What would be wrong here is to rotate this hand up behind his back. Remember, 90 degrees and rotate like an aeroplane propeller to get the tap. See, if I just get here, lie down and do that, I may get the tap now, but I'm just about out of power. So it's quite important, although it comes with some safety factors, that when I do come up here and get the lock, that we start to move our hip out and take that hand further away from his body and go from our right hip to our left to apply it. In this case, my right leg is stopping David from following the rotation by rolling out. And we'll be talking a lot more about this later on when we get past these basics, but there are ways to do that. Sometimes if I find the hand away, we'll grab it and just immediately use our knee to help stopping it come back. So he's trying to pull it back, and that just holds it away from his body long enough for us to get the grip and then do it. So it's really about, if you've found the hand away from his body, not letting it fight its way back there. Because while I'm grabbing it here and doing all this, he can be thinking about pulling that back in. So we want to go, no, and we get over there and hug that arm. So it just can't go back under his body. We use our legs sometimes, our body, anything to stop him getting his arm back. Once we've got the lock, now it's my whole hip versus his arm, and it's easy to apply. And we call that figure 4 arm lock from the guard.
One thing I've noticed is, against a really strong guy, I notice people making a mistake, even if they get their hips out, are still trying to manipulate with their arms. And a powerful guy, once he's out here, can just bring that arm back. So I build on what John is saying. Once I get the hips out and the arm up, I think of rotating my entire body. So it's my arms, my back, my shoulders, my hip, everything against the arm. And of course, having that leg there stops John's ability to roll out. One thing we'd like to get you to start thinking about now in terms of your training is not thinking of techniques as individual techniques per se, but start to think, how do these relate to other things you know? So in this course, you may now have realized that the sit-up that John's using looks an awful like the sit-up that he taught several lessons earlier for the front choke. So that should be a signal to you that this is a technique that's a good combination attack for the front choke. So if John puts his hand out and I try to get this move and I lose it and the hand goes back, the front choke is an excellent second move. And there's quite a few others from there that you're going to be learning as well. So when you go ahead and practice this technique, as you go ahead and drill it, you can start to think in terms of practicing the figure 4 to the front choke, the figure 4 to the front choke, and the fluidity between those two moves.